and Dennis Moran is underneath the kickoff, and here is Jerome Guisset, who is once upon a time, of course, from the Warrington club. Moran again for Wigan. Runner on his inside, and good tackling on Stephen Wild by Ben Westwood and Mike Wainwright. Moran again, as Wigan look to open up this Warrington defence very early in the piece. Here's Wayne Godwin, preferred for a starting role to Terry Newton, who is on the bench in a very strong-looking Wigan substitutes bench, I must say. That was David Allen, the dummy half, and the kick down the side was looking for the 40-20, but Brent Gross has it for Warrington. There is Terry Newton on the sideline. He will be introduced later, I'm sure of that. This is Henry Farfili, the New Zealand international, on the Warrington wing.
Good kick and chase here by Wigan. It was quite obvious Ian Millwood, their new coach, has said to Dennis Moran, take control out of the 5 play the balls. He was taking the reception on those 5 occasions. He will be the man to try to control, give them the opportunity to make those half breaks. They've been lacking that, the cohesion between the 2 halfbacks. Will it happen tonight?
Nathan Wood hangs on somehow. Wide ball finds Dean Gaskell on the left wing for Warrington. He cuts inside, but they are there. But Toakoe Love picks up the pass. Warrington keeping the ball alive. And here now is Paul Wood. And Wood drives the legs forward, getting Warrington to within 30 metres of the Wigan line. It was Ian Millwood we saw there, watching from up high here. A kick out wide looking for Gaskell, but it's well claimed by Colborne.
What a great take under a lot of pressure. It was a good kick as well from the halfback. Nathan Ward got plenty of height on it. Now then, what can Warrington do in the defensive pattern? They've certainly upped the tempo in that department over the last few weeks.
This is Bryn Hargraves for them, and a knock-on. A knock-on forced by the Warrington tacklers. Hargreaves just couldn't hang on to it.
Prop forward, Paul Wood, put plenty of pressure on the youngster, his opposite, Hargreaves. This is a bad error.
Here now is Martin Gleeson.
They got to keep an eye on him. He's one of the best centres in Super League. Cannot allow him any space whatsoever.
Chris Lightfall drives it forward for Warrington, halted by David Allen. And now John Clark, formerly of the Wigan club himself, to Westwood, but Westwood stopped in his tracks. Good tackling by Guisset and Godwin. They give themselves a bit of width, Warrington. This is Nathan Wood! And Wood manages to get the ball away. Here is his namesake, Paul. Paul Wood just takes the tackle. It was number 4 in this set of 6. John Clark, back it comes to Wood again. Gaskell wants it fed out wide. This is Toakoe Love. Good defence, low down. Chris Melling. Wood again, Gross, quick hands, Gaskell comes in field, keeps it alive. Oh, straight into the arms of the Wigan defender. And that was Stephen Wild.
Good position there by the big fella Wild. It had to be as well. A little bit too high then. Right into the face, just sheer frustration. Golden opportunity for the Wolves to open the scoring. What great play by the halfback Nathan Wood. He ran at one angle and just popped the ball very neatly and very quickly to Toakoe Love. Full credit to the Wigan defence, they got back.
Let's get down to the press benches. Dave Hadfield and his colleagues tonight once again have the onerous task of picking a man of the match.
A lot of interest in the 2 stand-up halves tonight. Danny Orr back after a 3-game absence in a very interrupted season. They need him to give them some direction. Time was when Warrington didn't be able to play without Lee Breers. He proved differently this season. Chris Bridge in for him tonight. Warrington have had great impact from the bench this season, and it's perhaps no coincidence that Ian Millwood's gone with a lot of potential strike power on the bench. A lot of players there you'd expect normally to be starting games, so we're watching for their impact as well later on.
Aspinwall, the dummy half, and here now is Bryn Hargreaves again off the bench for his debut against Salford exactly 12 months ago. And when I spoke to Ian Millwood this week, he was full of praise for young Bryn Hargreaves. Moran with the kick to the corner, out on the full. Well, that's a mistake from the experienced head of Dennis Moran.
And a shocking mistake in a position where they really should have applied that pressure. Way off target with that one.
So play resumes with a turnover on the 20-metre line. This is Guisset and Godwin tackling Mike Wainwright, who's made a remarkable return to the side. Paul Cullen bringing him back just a few weeks after compound fracture of 2 fingers. A nasty injury for Wainwright, but he has proved over the past month or so he's a very quick healer. John Clark, and here is Ben Westwood. Had to reach forward for that, but the ball was flat. Clark waits the dummy half for Warrington. Back it goes to Nathan Wood, just over the 40-metre line. Pops the ball up, and that's very easy for Brett Dallas.
It's a poor kick. If you're going to start kicking to this fella, you've got to make sure you've got to turn him around because he's got so much speed. Good positioning. Sure that Paul Cullen, the Warrington coach, get the message out. Come on, we've got to make it better. Kicking game is going to be important tonight.
This is Liam Colbon. He will play the ball to Godwin. Charging on to the football was David Vialicki. Godwin again. Well, the youngsters being given the opportunity tonight to start the game, and those experienced heads, as Steve-O says, see you tickle Godwin Hansen on the bench, or rather David Hatfield says, oh, this is a great one here from Chris Melling. He's got support either way, but Melling, he's dropped it. The referee will bring them back for the knock-on, and that's a glorious opportunity wasted by Wigan.
Stephen Wild, they did everything right up until this point. He really should have offloaded earlier. They have absolutely bombed it. Certainly good work from Martin Gleeson. It had to be at the very last moment. And you can see that there's one coach none too happy. It should have been offloaded a lot earlier.
Eddie, I think Brent Gross did remarkably well. They put doubt in the man, and here he goes again.
Brent Gross has made the break from the base of the scrum, and Dallas is quick, but they're not going to stop Brent Gross. Brent Gross all the way to the line for Warrington. Fantastic try from Brent Gross. Marvellous tackle to stop a try at one end from Martin Gleeson, and from the base of the scrum, Brent Gross going the full length of the field, and Warrington have the first try on the board.
It's great to see as well that teams will attack from that scrum base, deep within their own half. It all came about with a golden opportunity that was spurned by Wigan. Tried to get it away there, and it was a good defence. Great work from Martin Gleeson. It had to be, and that is an expression that we may see quite a lot till the end of this season. That was not the best attempt. It was a beautiful handoff, and the fullback was on his way. Dallas tried all he could. What a fend. You have to make the target the legs. Wonderful to see, and it's great to see that any rugby league side will want to take on the defence very close to the scrum base.
Chris Bridge adds the extras. The young man who was 21 last Sunday makes it 6-0, but Brent Gross, he averages a try every other game in his 3 years at Warrington, and he has given the Wolves the perfect start. We have John Keir, the Hull coach, with us here tonight, and I suppose, John, in many ways that's the start that you wouldn't want, because if Warrington win tonight, you are 4 points behind them.
Exactly right, Eddie, but it's a tale of two fullbacks, isn't it? First of all, Chris Melling, who made a real hash of the chance. He broke through superbly well, but should have been finished better. And then Gross, who defended so well, attacked so well, and it was Melling who missed the tackle, Eddie. So a big call there.
A big call, yeah, because Paul Noon lost the ball in the impact of the tackle, and now Warrington are called offside. Well, there was a chance that this game would be something special, and the start we have had, I think the players are going to live up to it. And Wigan are taking the tap. They're not going for the two. The ball is flicked back to Moran. It's continued on by Liam Botham. And Bridge and John Clark get the tackle in on him. Vialicki is the dummy half. Here now is David Allen for Wigan. Warrington now having to muscle up again in defence.
It's a good decision to keep this ball alive rather than go for the 2 points. They know they want to try to get back. Show that they've got the skill factor.
Melling picked up the loose ball. It was a pass from Moran looking for Danny Orr. This now is Martin Aspinwall, and Aspinwall is grounded by Chris Lightfall. Godwin finds Moran, and Moran dabs the ball into the in-goal area, and will get the try!
Superb
Moran for Wigan.
Superb effort. Dennis Moran, for so often, has not decided to take on the defence. Has come up with a beautiful little grubber.
Well, Warrington will look back at the kick-off, Steve-O, that would have gone out on the full. Look how high Nathan Wood has to reach and how close he is to the dead ball line.
To be fair, it is difficult to make a decision there. I think he did the right one. It's just that they stole the ball, and that was good work. Hargreaves did especially well, but watch the kick here. He also had the speed. Great stuff. A captain's knock. He's controlling things out there for Wigan. An opportunist try we've seen so often when he was in the colours of the London Broncos. And he's back to his best. It's been a slow start for Moran this year, but that is just what the doctor ordered.
Liam Botham has got the job of trying to improve Dennis Moran's try, and if he kicks this, it will be his first points in the cherry and white of Wigan. He missed a kick at goal last week against Lee. Botham has missed another here against Warrington. It's Wigan 4, Warrington 6. Well, incredible start, Phil.
Eddie, yeah, you know, Dennis Moran's greatest strength isn't in creating tries, it's in scoring them. And I think that if he's able to concentrate on that aspect of play, he provides, he plays to his full potential, and in fact he probably offers the side far more. And I think that was a fantastic individual try, which we saw him score so often at London. And I suppose the greatest contribution he can make to the Wigan side if he plays that way again.
Well, here he is again, Dennis Moran, and here is Jerome Guisset, Wainwright and Westwood leading the charge on him. Scoreline from France: London 8, Leeds 20 in the south of France after 55 minutes. Here at the JJB Stadium, Guisset, the French international, takes the tackle from Paul Wood. Godwin, and now here is Chris Melling. Missed the last two, his last appearance, he won't want me to remind you of this, 70-0 at Leeds. He was on the wing, now he's at fullback. Actually, Ian Millwood is allowing all the players in his staff towards the end of this season to let themselves get in the shop window. He wants to have a look at them all. He's promised them all a run, and he is living up to that promise.
Well, it's the best thing that a new coach can do. But first of all, they've got the job in hand to avoid relegation. They're still not out of the mire. Still plenty of games left in this Super League.
I saw Sean O'Loughlin downstairs here prior to this match, Steve-O. I told him that was your view. He said there's no chance.
There's a lot of points still to play for. It's a funny game, rugby league. If they go into thinking that they've already made it, that is not the right thing, and that is a bad mistake.
Big error by Chris Lightfall. No, Paul Wood, I beg his pardon. Sorry, Chris, Paul Wood it was.
He's had a great start, hasn't he, to the game, Paul Wood. I suppose you wonder now, what's his self-talk going on? What's going around in his head at the moment? I suppose he's going to try and stay positive and think, can I make up for this before Wigan score again?
Danny Orr gets the ball out to David Violicki. A little ankle tap on him, but the big New Zealander has the strength. It's a good job that Farfili was there. Here is Danny Orr again. Ball in field to Godwin. Interesting about Danny Orr, this is only his 10th match of the season for Wigan tonight. He finds Dennis Moran. Oh, the ball is behind Colbom, and that is an error. Liam Colbom was out on the wing, looking and waiting, and the coach just shows his frustration again.
Well, he'd no chance of getting to it. Just a little bit over-eager there.
It was a poor pass.
It certainly was, and they've got themselves organised. It's amazing how that try, you know what, they've been in the doldrum for quite some time now, Wigan. They know they've got to fight for everything that's out on that field for the full 80 minutes. And when things like that happen, you just get overconfident. That was stolen 2-on-1.
And there's a penalty to Warrington. But if you look at their performance last week, the tries they conceded against Widnes were out on the wings. Well, Wigan's biggest job is, as you see, the skill of getting the ball to the winger, and effectively they had the chance to score there, but they haven't been able to execute those sort of plays, and that's probably the difference and the reason why they are towards the bottom of the league rather than the top.
Phil Clark said that Paul Wood hasn't had the best of starts. That's been confirmed by Paul Cullen. He has been withdrawn from the field of play. Paul Cullen has made his first substitution, and here is Danny Lima. He gets through Melling, and it's a good job that Danny Tickle is there. There was no support. Clark will run up a line. John Clark flicks the pass to Gross. They have men on the overlap. Gleeson is one of them.
He's dropped it.
And has Gleeson scored, or has he dropped the ball?
I think he's dropped it. His hands are swinging. It was a chariot swing, and I don't think it's brought him 4 points. I think he loses it here. Ooh, now then, I think he's lost it. They'll go frame by frame. I am sure that he... Ooh, now then. You see, frame by frame, it's amazing, isn't it? It looks, when you first see it, that he's dropped it, but then, on the second replay, the fingers are still touching the ball, so therefore, we've seen them given. I reckon that this is going to be cheered out wide.
No try, Steve. Even Martin Gleeson doesn't think it's a try. You could see when he got up and you read his lips as he walked away. He said, I dropped it.
Well, Steve Cross is the video referee. John Keir, what do you say?
It's no try at all, and Steve O'Keefe saying he'll grow his hair back if it's given. Well, I'll grow mine back. There's no chance whatsoever. It's no control. They can't give that as a try.
But the fingers are on it, John.
The fingers are on it, so therefore it may be given.
No control with the downward pressure, no try.
Steve Cross is the man who has the decision to make. No try, and a 20-metre restart. 1-0, John Keir. And Phil Clark says, Martin Gleeson, I think he's right, he said I dropped it.
Golden opportunity, but what a run.
Lima's
from
first
Lima.
touch.
Unbelievable.
And there he is again, Lima, adding his weight into that tackle.
How's that for being a good coach? You bring off one man, throw one on there, and he makes the impact and the sudden break. Superb stuff.
That is Bryn Hargreaves. He gets to his feet. Here is Dennis Moran. This is Danny Tickle. Oh, and he bounces off John Clark. Danny Tickle has support either way. It comes to Martin Aspinwall. Aspinwall gets it away to Colbom. And Warrington muscle up in defence in the shape of Dean Gaskell and that man Danny Lima. It's Stephen Wild. Infield it comes to Liam Botham. Here is Dennis Moran. Moran, oh, that's forward. Round the corner, the same play on the officials. Ball has come back again, Moran. And Moran pointing to the far corner, gets a kick in, not the best. Picked up by Brent Gross. And the tackle from Danny Tickle. Well, that looked like a forward pass when it drifted out wide.
It certainly did. Justice has been done there, but they look a little bit lost. Again, they're getting panicky when they get anywhere near this Warrington line.
Oh,
That's great
Lightball!
defence.
Stopped by a three-man tackle, Hargreaves, Tickle and one other.
Well, the light ball went out, didn't it? That was really good defence.
Danny Lima now for Warrington will play the ball to John Clark. Here is Ben Westwood.
It's important that when Wigan get anywhere near this Warrington line, they've got to make sure that Dennis Moran is controlling things. Everyone around him is just panicking.
Not the best kick from Chris Bridge.
Well, you talk about substitutions, Eddie, and what two substitutes? Danny Lima, first of all, made a break, and then Danny Tickle for the Wigan Warriors has done similarly. And just with a little bit better execution, there could have been ahead there. And it's interesting to note as well, Terry Newton coming on before the 20-minute mark.
24-14 in the south of France, leads ahead of the London Broncos. This is Danny Orr. He nearly gets away from one, couldn't get away from Wainwright's second time. And here now is Moran, and Moran gets the ball in field once more to Colbom.
Well, the reason that Ian Millwood has thrown out Newton now there, he knows that he'll control it. He'll settle things down a little bit.
There is Newton, here is Moran. There's a little dab towards the in-goal area, picked up by Dean Gaskell. And Brent Gross makes no progress from Danny dummy half. Stephen Wild saw to that. Penalty to Wigan.
Well, he dummied to play the ball. You're not allowed to do that.
But Danny Lima was stood in an offside position and interfering in play, and I think that's the reason. Can't quite see it in that shot. The markers were being interfered with by Danny Lima.
It was a very good decision. Didn't clear the ruck area whatsoever. Great decision by Richard Silverwood.
This is Bryn Hargreaves now for Wigan. They are camped underneath the Warrington posts. Terry Newton flicks the ball. It's with Danny Orr. He finds another Danny. Danny Tickle, and Chris Bridge gets the tackle in on him. There is Newton pushing everyone out of the way at dummy half. It comes back to Danny Orr. A long ball to Dennis Moran. Colbon wants it wide. Colbon gets it wide. And Colbon loses it.
Oh, great work there by Mike Wainwright. That was superb. He thinks it's a try. He thinks it's a continuation, but it'll be a knock-on. But what great work. Watch Wainwright coming to it. Wood's doing the right thing. It's that new rule.
Didn't make an attempt on the ball.
Well, Toa Koilov took a real risk then, because had Richard Silverwood gone to the screen, who knows what would have happened.
Well, there's Ian Millwood saying he should have gone to the screen, but I think it was quite clear that the impact from Mike Wainwright dislodged the ball.
Logan Swan for Warrington. Danny Lima now. Three of them close in on Lima. Botham was one, Newton was one, and Danny Tickle was the other.
Well, the pace of this game, it's got to take its toll late in the match. It's very humid down there.
It is. The clouds, thankfully, have covered the blue skies that we had earlier on today here at Wigan. Good chase, led by Wainwright and Westwood. No way through then for Chris Melling.
Well, you can see there on the wide shot that a lot of the Wigan players very slow to get back into an attacking position. It's sapping the energy out there.
Aspinwall for Wigan, right on the halfway line. Warrington with their best sequence of results since 1993. They completed 9 wins in a row then between October and December. Wigan halted the sequence with a 27-14 Regal Trophy quarter-final win at Wilderspool.
And you can't win a Man of the Match award for what you do in the first 20 minutes, but Bryn Hargreaves deserves some big praise for the Wigan side. He's just taken a rest. I thought he was outstanding in the first 20 minutes. He really has helped Wigan get off to a good start.
That ball bouncing all over the place. Chris Bridge takes control for Warrington.
Boy, there was plenty of height on that.
It got up as high as the stands here, and that's pretty high.
Unbelievable. And Warrington were very fortunate. No one really elected to go for it.
This is Chris Lightfall for Warrington now to the 30-metre line. 3 tackles gone. And Logan Swan will try and drive it forward again. Newton got to him, bit of a swinger.
Missed, certainly intended.
Not the best pass, but Westwood makes it a decent one. Gets Warrington over halfway on the last. 24-20 now. London clawing back against Leeds.
Oh, what's that forward? He looks to the touch judges, Richard Silverwood. Touch judge just nodded, said he was okay. Oh, that was close. Would that have been momentum to go the opposite way?
Momentum rule the other way.
I can't believe that.
I just think that's great invention. That is, it's typical of Ian Millward. Any side that Ian Millward coaches, he coaches them to chance and arm, and that's exactly what Wigan are doing at the minute. There's great ball movement, and they are splitting the Warrington defence.
Well, I spoke to Brian Carney a couple of weeks ago, and he was saying that everything in training that they do it with the football.
This is Liam Botham again for Wigan. Beaten by sheer weight of numbers then, though, Lima and John Clark. Now it's with Dennis Moran, who's gone for a 40-20. But it's a wide pitch, this long pitch to Wiggins. And Brent Gross has it for Warrington.
Oh, I look forward too. Well, they're dicing with it, aren't they? I've got to say, you know, it reminds me a little bit of the game last night, in as much that Wigan have had so many opportunities, so much field position, and yet they're behind on the scoreboard. It's amazing.
Brent Gross, and Paul Wood has returned. Made his Great Britain debut against New Zealand in 2003. Lima on the charge. You've got a quick glimpse there, I think, of Ian Millwood and Dennis Betts watching from on high here. Oh, what a run this is from Chris Bridge. Great on his feet, and the kick for Gleeson. think that has been diffused by David Vialicki. It has. It's
Great
a goal
work.
line dropout. But why did Bridge kick?
Well, I think he just panicked. He didn't perhaps realise, and he thought that they'd run in front. I think he did the right thing, because when you look at the replay, Martin Gleeson has overrun the man. If he'd have offloaded, it would have been brought back for a forward pass. Watch this. That would have been a forward pass, because he knew he had to make a decision. Moran make a right cobblers of it. And the big centre, Vialicki, diffuses any problems. Good work from him.
But a problem here for Warrington and Chris Bridge. They are without Lee Breers, of course, and there's a concerned coach on the sideline here.
I think he's just winded.
Well, they've been very lucky, Warrington, that whenever Breers has been out, Bridge has been fit. Whenever Bridge has been out, Breers has been fit. And they will be desperate to keep him on the field. Oh, it was a real bell ringer from Chris Melling that got him. But a totally legal challenge.
Yeah, and I think that's just into the rib cage, so he would have been winded.
Lima will drive it back again for Warrington.
He may have just sprung a rib cartilage on there, which would be very painful.
Wait!
Nathan Wood. Westwood keeps the movement going to Gross. It goes wide to Bridge. Ooh, that looked forward to Gleeson. Oh, Sarfili has
forward a
got
mile. Well, justice has been seen to be done. The build-up pass to this was a mile forward.
nothing wrong with that one.
Nope.
And interestingly enough, if Farfili got over for the try, they couldn't have gone to look for the forward pass. Not allowed.
Let's go.
Well, it's all happening here.
London have hit the front against Leeds in the south of France. 26-24, 12 to go. An intriguing night in the Engage Super League. And a real battle developing here in front of us at the JJB Stadium. Oh! Harrison Hansen couldn't take that. It was a sharp pass from Newton, straight in the face, really.
Yeah, but he should have taken
Angelino
that.
was in his chest. He should have got it, I suppose.
Of course he should. Just have a little glance of what was coming towards him. It's a bit like going through the traffic lights when it's on amber.
Get in, Harrison. Head in.
Yes.
Well, you don't know whether to stop or continue, do you?
Well, you should stop, shouldn't you, according to the highway code?
And you always stick to the highway code?
Absolutely. Well, I do. You obviously don't.
It must be difficult to be perfect.
Second, clear the rock.
Did you ever take a driving test?
Sorry?
Lima.
Free movement.
You don't think I'm out on the road illegally, do you?
Well, obviously, if you drive like that, you're a danger to all concerned. This is Wood. And John Clark waits the dummy half. Lima is the runner. They go wide and find Gross. It opened up for Gross. Bridge wide to Farfili. There was a big gap then for Brent Gross, but he just decided instead to go the other way and go wide. Here's Bridge, who will hoist the kick. You'll find Gaskell with it. And Gaskell stabs it through the legs of Colbon. Picked up with, oh, well done, Danny Orr.
Put his body on the line and over the line. That's the most important thing. That is great defence. That is superb. That's what's been the difference between Warrington this season and seasons past.
Nowhere through for Liam Colbon then.
Once you put the big boys on, that was superb. He'll be disappointed, Danny Orr. He got into the field of play. Good work by the winner. Gaskell knew that the kick was through. And Danny Orr thought, well, we've saved the day. And that came about by the pass being a long one.
Now then, Paul Wood picks it up. It was a great dropout from underneath the Wigan sticks. 10 metres inside the Warrington half.
When you get to that point, going back to that incident where Danny Orr dived to make sure they got any field of play, when you're in that position, your dummy half doesn't pass. Your dummy half goes forward.
This is Nathan Wood now for Warrington. Here is Wainwright. Good quick hands. And Wood gets the ball away, but who's got it back?
Yes.
That is very well done. Brilliantly done by Coe Love. It was no knock on. Clark. Bullet pass, Bridge. He finds Logan Swan. Flick ball out the back. This is Martin Gleeson. Oh, right into the arms of Danny Tickle. And Danny Tickle for Wigan hasn't got the legs.
Well, it was 3-1. He knew he wasn't going to go all the way to the whitewash, but they can build on this.
They can, because it's with Newton. And Newton with a great ball to Stephen Wild.
Oh, it should have gone.
Oh,
It
that
should
was
have. That's
forward
pass.
Oh, Stephen Wild just went the wrong way.
John, I bet both sides would never imagine they'd have this many chances in the first half of the game to score points.
There's lots and lots of chances, Phil, everywhere, and I think both coaches will be concerned at how easily the defensive line is being breached. But Steve alluded to the game last night, and he's certainly, we're approaching the business end of the season, you can almost feel it. It's much more physical, the speed of the game is much more high tempo, and it's cracking watching.
It's great stuff, and your match last night at Saints was a belter. It really was. Disappointed to lose.
Very disappointed, Eddie, but we threw a lot at them, they answered us, but we know there's 8 more rounds of Super League for us to get it right, and we will do towards the end of the season.
Fair enough. I think we can expect a challenge from Hull in the playoffs. Ball in play for 22 minutes.
Yeah, it's all right, it's all right.
It is unrelenting.
Leave him, come on, work! All off.
Now then, Nathan Wood. Oh, Cohen Love, how did he hold on to that? An offside against Wigan.
Never made any attempt at that last play. The ball, Aspen Ball was jumping back, didn't go back the full 10. There's not on his own. Look at that. That's well spotted by the official. That is really taking the mickey, and the official has seen it.
Eddie, one of the things you notice when you watch Warrington play is how they use the full width of the pitch. All 13 players on the field at the time of possession are in a dangerous position. It makes them difficult to defend against.
We're going to have to defend here. That's Mark Gleeson. He finds John Clark, who finds Chris Bridge. And Chris Bridge attacking the line. Important tackle from Liam Botham, that.
They're just hanging off a little bit of the Wigan defence.
This is Paul Wood again.
They're looking a little bit tired. They haven't got the same enthusiasm they showed early.
Mark Gleeson waits at dummy half. Lima with the big man trundling up the middle. This is Wood back on the inside to Brent Gross. Took the tumble over the grounded Wigan player. Nathan Wood again. Mike Wainwright. Toa Koe Love. Good feet. Did he get across? Did momentum take it? There was certainly a bounce.
No doubt about it.
Bounce. Did he bounce over the line?
Now then, the downward pressure with the body, will it be sufficient? He's short there. Is that a double movement? Or has momentum taken him over?
You can't drag 2 players off the line with your own energy.
Well, the momentum from the player, as you can see there, is going there. Maybe the players are taking him over.
Well, the whole momentum of the tackle is taking him over the line.
Well, I'm not so sure. Coleman's weight is pushing him backwards. I think this will be given.
I think so as well. Toa Koe Love and the entire stadium waits to find out what Steve Cross says. Koe Love gets the try.
He was definitely short, but the impact of Coleman going right into his rib cage has kept the momentum going. That is a good decision by the video referee, but it's Koe Love back to his best. Nice step. Watch this, off the left and then off the right. That is quality play. And sadly for the youngster Liam Coleman, his weight made sure that this man got over for the TRY.
Do you think Toa Koe Love's become a bit sick and tired of watching Martin Gleeson dance around defenders on the other side of the field?
Maybe Chris Bridge has missed. But it's 10 points to 4 in Warrington's favour. John Keir.
Yeah, the big one there, Eddie. I thought that the best video replay was the one in real time, because in real time there didn't look any doubt whatsoever about that try, and I think quite rightly Steve Cross came up with it. You just see here, it's just bang bang and it's over. There's no halting at all. It's only when he went frame by frame there looked to be any doubt. That's a great decision.
Certainly is, John, and the most amazing thing about it is that, you know, you can't blame Coleman for doing that. It's just an instinct, isn't it?
Well, great quick thinking by Koe Love as well, though, to take both arms off the ball, as much as to say there was no double movement from Misa. Gaskell then for Warrington, who lead 10-4.
Getting to that point that Phil Clark has just made in regards to, you know, Toa Koe Love. He's watching the skill of Martin Gleeson throughout this season, and you know, it does lift a player. to think that you've got quality playing outside you.
Wigan behind at home again under Ian Millwood. They have to go back 3 months for the last home win, 23-22 against Widnes, and it was a Dennis Moran drop goal that was the difference that day.
The man playing the football has certainly just turned the tide of this game, and that's Nathan Wood, the skipper.
Clark's chip down the line, but it's too deep. Yes, Nathan Wood's having a big influence on this match, and it's remarkable really when you think that this is his last season at Warrington. He's surplus to requirements. They've bought a new hooker come scrum half for next year.
He's been a good servant to the club as Nathan Wood, and he will play, I'm sure, 100% right up to the end of his career with the Wolves. But his ability to work the short blind side, creating a few problems for this Wigan defence.
Michael Sullivan will be here in the primrose yellow and blue for Warrington next year as Nathan Wood's replacement, but he is having a great season. This is Terry Newton. Harrison Hansen hangs on despite the attention of Logan Swan. Newton again will run at this Warrington defence. Mark Gleeson, that is, gets to him, but he's still on one knee, gets it away to Dallas. Dallas finds Vialicki. Vialicki, it went to Dallas. Eventually, it's the last tackle for Wigan. There's Vialicki. Here is Dennis Moran. And there's the crossfield kick looking for Colborne. It's a difficult ball here for Gaskell, but he diffuses it in the in-goal area.
Tremendous take there. Gaskell never let his eyes drift away off that football. It was always going to be his. That is a great take.
Well, look at this. In the south of France, London have hit back against Leeds. There's 2 minutes to go, and it looks like London are going to claim a victory over the champions. 32-24 down there. What a night for the London Broncos. Maybe they should play all their games in the south of France.
Well, I suppose it's very warm down there, Eddie, and a lot of the Australian contingent will be far more suited to the weather.
Koilov again. It never rains in Australia then. Here is Nathan Wood. Crossfield kick. Oh, and there was a real sandwich then. But he took it bravely, Liam Botham.
Are you trying to say that the Australian climate is similar to ours in England?
Eddie, if you want to miss one thing when Lee Briers doesn't play, it's the accuracy of his kicks to end the sets, really. He tends to put you far more pressure. So often you're having to pick the ball up in your own in-goal area and hope for the best that you can get out of it. And that's an aspect, really, that I guess Paul Cook will want to improve on when he gets to half-time.
Danny Tickle gets Wigan over halfway. There is Lee Briers in the stand, watching his team leading 10-4, but they're certainly missing his lovely little kicks in the direction that he tries to give to the team. What's happened there? The referee says it was all going backwards, and Warrington come up with the ball. Gross plays it to Gaskell. He is tackled by Danny Orr.
Very fortunate there. They got ever so confused. Mark Gleeson didn't realise he should have gone for the football. You know, you look at Wigan, they put in a lot of effort. They've had the opportunities early, and you've got to look to the fact that Wigan's, the fullback Chris Mellin, is about the only one that's showing the ability to actually make the break.
It's 10-4 here to Warrington, and I think London have beaten the champions in the south of France. If it stays like this, is this the night that Wigan and the playoffs lose touch with each other? Because there will be a big gap between London and Wigan, and London are in 6th at the moment, and Wigan have never missed out on a playoff series before. But if they lose to Warrington and London go on and win that match, which I think they will, is this the night? And they have won it, 32-24. Will this be the night that Wigan say, well, we'll be concentrating fully on next season?
Eddie, I don't think they need to be worried about the playoffs. They need to worry about how they can threaten the Warrington defensive line a little more often. In the last 15 minutes, they're finding it hard to penetrate, and the one-up charges probably won't quite get through. They look most dangerous when Newton runs from dummy half, and he has players supporting him in the holes.
This is Dennis Moran. He finds Brett Dallas up the middle.
It was telegraphed that. You could see quite clearly that Dennis Moran was going to put that ball back on the inside.
Oh, that's a poor kick from Dennis.
Well, he started
out on the full
ever so well. Was taking charge out there for the opening 2 sets of 6 that Wigan had, and of course it was a wonderful individual try that put the Warriors back into this match, but from that moment on, I'm afraid he's just gone backwards.
Here comes Chris Lightfall. Just had a thought about the London victory over the Leeds Rhinos. St Helens beat Leeds. Ian Millwood got the sack. Wakefield beat Leeds. Shane McNally got the sack. London Broncos beat Leeds. Should Tony Ray look over his shoulder?
Safe as one of those houses that I put on the line from time to time.
It's only a thought. You can see where the train was coming from. Wigan have the possession from the scrum, and it's a kick early from Danny Orr looking for Dallas, but Brent Gross is pretty quick. But Brent Gross has got work to do. Did he stand on the line then?
What an effort. What an effort. And I just got the impression that Wigan gave up the chase.
He was a millimetre off the whitewash.
But you can't try to make a decision. The players pull back. Wigan just said, oh, it's going to be a dropout. Taking nothing away from the full back.
Here is Martin Gleeson, and he gets Warrington to the halfway line on the fourth tackle. Nathan Wood, Paul Wood now. Much better ball retention from Paul Wood late in this first half. Mark Gleeson, Nathan Wood.
Very confident now, Warrington. They've eliminated the big forwards down the middle. They're keeping it alive, giving it plenty of air. And this will be a good chase.
The kick from Chris Bridge, gobbled up by Colbon, and Gleeson and Bridge combined to bring the young winger down.
Just got his arms away, did Gleeson there. Sorry, Chris Bridge there in the pickup. Pulled away before he was slammed to the ground.
Newton, see you, that right knee heavily bandaged. Looks like he's running around on one leg, see you. He came out for the warm-up and he was limping heavily.
Well, he's not fitted, you can see that.
Colbon manages to get the ball under pressure from Gaskell. Last tackle though for Wigan. And Danny Orr pumps the ball downfield, but straight to Brent Gross, and the chase isn't clever. And Gross, Paul Cullen on his way down, barking instructions down the walkie-talkie. He wants this 6-point advantage and maybe more by half-time. Ian Millwood's also on the sideline. He's shouting instructions from the technical area.
Well, I think Paul Cullen realises that they've still got an opportunity. There's not many seconds left, but go for broke.
Ian Millwood, very legal tonight, right in the technical area. This is Paul Wood. They've got 10 seconds remaining, Warrington. Will they put the kick in? Will they go for the 1 point with Bridge? They will go for one with Bridge. And that stretches the lead to 7 points at half-time.
Good thinking. That's how important the 1 point can be.
Right on the stroke of half-time, Chris Bridge. It's a heck of a...
He's doing well off the side on the right-hand side, it's good.
You've had to defend very, very fiercely so far. It looks like more coming your way in the second half, doesn't it? If you to hold on to this.
Yeah, I think so. I think we just got to control the ball a bit better and not give some cheap ball to Wigan. Wigan are coming at us real strong, but so far our defence is still strong.
And you've taken your chances.
Yeah, well, we're a bit disappointed that we've not took more chances in the first half, but hopefully, as I say, we keep our composure and keep our patience, and hopefully we can come away with some more points.
Lee Breer's not on the field for Warrington, and Wigan are just on their way out of the dressing room. Ian Millwood and Dennis Betts have had their say. There's Brent Gross, who scored the length of the field try in the first half, and Wigan emerge. That's the Wigan support at one end of the ground. At the other end, well, they've just about filled it, the Warrington supporters. Nearly 5,000 of them here. And the club is certainly enjoying boom times. Thousands and thousands of people talking rugby league in the town of Warrington for the first time in many, many years.
Well, they put together a wonderful run of success, and that always will attract the fans. But it is the quality of play that they're also producing out on the field of play that has really impressed me. But it is a fickle game, as sport always can be. Remember, what, 12 weeks ago, people were talking in the same town that maybe it was time to get rid of their coach. It's a funny
Not anymore. Not anymore. And Mike Forshaw on the left of your screen there, next to Paul Cullen, brought in as his assistant coach.
And another former Wigan player as well. A lot of people in Warrington have been talking about the last time that Warrington won in Wigan, and that, of course, back in 1993. Now, they've come close over the last few years, none more so than 2 years ago when they lost 21 points to 20. And I think that significantly that drop goal just before half-time was a lesson learned from 2 years ago. They know this is going to be close, and they want it to be close in their favour tonight.
It is going to be close, but how sweet a victory would it be for Paul Cullen when you bear in mind what he and Millwood and St Helens did to Paul Cullen at Warrington twice earlier this season. They pinched the game off Warrington with just seconds remaining on each occasion. How sweet a moment it would be for Cullen to put one over on Ian Millwood. Well, we shall see if he can. This is Paul Wood. We've got some Warrington news, I understand. Bill.
It's been a gruelling game, another gruelling game, just like last night's was, and Warrington have picked up a couple of casualties because Toa Koilub is on the sidelines with a shoulder injury, and John Clark hasn't reappeared either. He's picked up a calf injury, limped off at half-time. There is Toa, and John Clark is being treated in the dressing room at the moment for a calf injury. They're hoping he'll come back anyway.
Second, stand back!
So Westwood and Paul Noon are introduced. Paul Noon starting off the bench because Paul Cullen knew he could cover a number of positions for him if need be. Well, the need has arisen. Here's Siu Siu.
Just shows you the importance of having a very good subs bench.
Wait.
It was fascinating.
Gingerly to his feet there. Siu Siu again. Trundles it forward, up to halfway.
It was fascinating to see how Warrington played that first half. You know, for the first 25 minutes, they just kept it tight, very controlled in the forwards, but you could see they were quite willing to give that ball plenty of air late in that first half. And I think they'll go through the same procedure.
Danny Orr's kick downfield runs dead in goal. Danny Orr, as I say, this is only 10th game for him so far, and it's only his 40th appearance in 2 years at Wigan. He's gone 13 months since a try.
But it hasn't been a good move, and that was a high shot. Not a good move for the Castleford man, Danny Orr. Took a lot of time to settle into the club. It's a silly penalty to give away. Position so vital now.
Yes, Warrington piggyback down the field on the back of that penalty. Bridge restarts. Here is Logan Swan. Ooh, he nearly got the ball away then, and Noon was hunting a try. This is Gleeson. Gleeson was taken a bit high by Jerry Siu there. That's Mark Gleeson, smaller and younger of the two. Nathan Wood can't get the ball away, surrounded by three cherry and white jerseys.
Wait, come on, get out of there, three.
Brent Gross. Likevall hit that at pace, gets the ball away, straight into the arms of Terry Newton. And Newton brings it forward as far as Chris Bridge.
Well, I'm sure that Newton shouted for that ball. Likevall twisting in the tackle, full of confidence. He just was Johnny on the spot, wasn't he? And they've got caught offside now. This is great relief for Wigan. Paul Cullen not too impressed. Such an important facet that once you've done all the hard work, push your opposition into their own quarter, is to use the lack of concentration to allow yourself not to talk to each other in that one line of defence. Hull did it quite a few times, John Keir, in the game yesterday. That must have frustrated you.
It certainly did, yeah, and it's the lack of discipline that does concern you, because you put yourself in a great position, then you just piggyback the team out. You don't mind if the team have to grind the way out, but when you give them easy yard, it is very frustrating indeed.
Here, once again, is Bryn Hargreaves. He's played 5 of the 6 matches under Ian Millwood so far. This is Danny Orr again, but no way through for him. He's trying to squeeze the ball out, and does, though, to Newton, who finds Dennis Moran. And Moran with a chip down the line, looking for Colbon. Brilliantly picked up by Dean Gaskell.
Well, he'll be very relieved there, Gaskell, because he wasn't in a good position.
And Danny Tickle is back up the other end of the field and is injured. Limped chipping his way back into the line as we watch the replay.
He nearly got to it, did Liam Colburn. That was a very clever kick indeed. It's pretty good defence as well.
Yes, good defence from Wigan here.
Got to say, I'm impressed with this Bryn Hargreaves. He works very hard indeed, and he can put in a big hit.
This is Mike Wainwright for Warrington. Back it goes to Brent Gross. Left-footed kick down the line, but easy for Chris Melling. Good chase though by Wainwright and Noon, and eventually they get him down. Colbon doing a lot of work for Wigan. This is Aspinwall, scampering run, halted by Wainwright's challenge. Terry Newton, good ball, Dave Allen, good tackle, Martin Gleeson. Danny Orr now for Wigan. Delayed the kick, just delayed the pass, and that was easy in the end for Warrington to gobble that up.
Not the best effort from the standoff. Didn't give himself any space whatsoever, but attribute that to the way that this Warrington defence, who really are getting into the faces.
Nathan Wood, Wainwright for Warrington. Siu low down, and Tickle looks like he's recovered from the bang he took earlier in the piece.
Just saw the stat there of 9 clean breaks by Warrington as against 4 from Wigan. Shows you the confidence, and those breaks came late in that first half. Now then, this is where they should be working the link.
Last tackle for Warrington here. Mark Gleeson, Chris Bridge, kick downfield. Well claimed over on that far side by the Wigan defender, who was Liam Colbon.
It's been a territorial gaining game for the last 3 or 4 minutes, Eddie, and Warrington are just slightly winning that with their go forward and obviously the kicking. Wigan are relying on a succession of dummy half runs to get upfield. Their kick at the end of it hasn't been as good.
That was Aspinwall with that run from dummy half. He'll play the ball to Brett Dallas, and he has a go now, but he only makes 4 or 5 metres. That's number 4. Here is Terry Newton. Newton waiting for the runners. Moran, and wide they go, and Gaskell, and a good ball out wide to Colbon. Colbon down the line, kick in field, easy for Brent Gross.
Well, they just panicked a little bit there, Liam Colbon. Need offload, gave him acres of space to go through. Would have been perhaps better suited to come back off his right foot, step in towards the field of play.
This is Henry Farfili. He has scored 16 tries for Warrington this season. Now it's Mark Gleeson. Gets the ball away to Noon. And Dolan. Harrison Hansen. And Noon trying to steal it back. That's great work from young Harrison Hansen. Oh, and that's a big hit by Logan Swan.
Pitches the ball, good work as you said from Hansen there. They've got to build on it here.
Violecki for Wigan. Wrestled to the ground by Bridge.
He nearly was through there. It was only the legs going through from Briggs that just stopped him. Now then, who's going to take control here? Terry Newton.
Terry Newton's the man at dummy half. Great step on the other foot. Great ball, and support arrives. Wonderful try for Chris Melling. Terry Newton engineered that out of absolutely nothing. Sent the entire Warrington defence the wrong way. Brought it back down the left-hand channel. Good hands, and young Chris Melling gets his first try of the year.
And what a try, and it was one that Wigan needed. The old stager did everything right, didn't he? And good support play. That's all you need. It all came about from Hansen stealing the football. Warrington was in a good position. How's this from the old stager? Let's get to them. What a finish. They're not done. It looked as though they were down and out. You little beauty.
Ian Milward enjoyed that, as did all the Wigan crowd. It's 11-8. And Chris Melling, he's only 20 years of age, brought into the side because Ian Milward wanted to give Sean Gleeson a bit of a breather, another young player who was either or with him for the full-back berth. And he was full-back, by the way, in the last home Super League win against Widnes in April. Is that an omen for Wigan? Danny Tickle now to get this match back to within a point for Wigan. Try and 5 goals against Lee last week. The Warrington crowd doing their best to put him off. The Wigan crowd rising to their team as they come back in preparation for the kick-off. And Tickle. Well, he's too cool a cucumber to miss those. It's Wigan 10, it's Warrington 11, it's tight as a drum.
It is a sin that when the both markers go the same way, and this fella Newton knew that, Paul Cullen will not be happy with the way that they both decided to go to the left.
Brian Carney in the stands, one of the powerful and experienced hands that are missing from the Wigan side. The pin-up boy of the JJB Stadium.
Seems to have changed the colour of his hair. Well, not many people do that these days.
This has try for Wigan has given them hope, has given them life. 10 minutes into the second half, we're in for a snorting last 30, Phil Clark, aren't we?
For sure, you know, just going back to Chris Mellon's try, the full-back in rugby league nowadays is like a traditional striker in football. He's just got to be there in front of goal when the chance comes, he's got to take it. And Chris Mellon took that. Fantastic play. What's the amount of support playing he does whilst on the field as well, backing up any chances.
Danny Orr flicks the ball back to Harrison Hansen, who, remember, stole the ball from Paul Noon that set up that movement that led to the Wigan try. There's Danny Orr now with the kick down the line, and that is not quite right from the boot of Danny Orr. Some Wigan news now, Bill.
Problems for Wigan. Bryn Hargreaves, who, as you've mentioned, has had a storming game so far, has just had to limp off the field. There was a lot of confusion in the sidelines for Wigan, whether Hargreaves was going to carry on or not, but eventually the decision was made to bring the youngster off. The Wayne Godwin has gone on in his place, and Hargreaves having treatment on the sidelines at the moment.
John Keir, we are half an hour away from the end of this match. We are about 8 games away from the end of the weekly rounds of the Super League, but noticeably this weekend the intensity has lifted.
Yeah, everybody's aware, Eddie, now that the cards really are going on the table, and places are up for grabs in the playoffs, and it just shows with London's result and with the intensity of this game that the business end is approaching, and there's some great rugby league being played. And you know, Eddie, this might well come down to the use of substitution. I know that Wigan now have made 8 interchanges, so they've just got 4 left with half an hour left.
98 days to go to the grand final of 2005, and who will be there? Wigan believe if they win tonight, they can launch a bid for the top 6.
Well, it certainly lifted. Maybe the message has got through that London did actually beat Leeds. That'll be a fillip for them. But it's amazing that Ian Millwood knows that the experience of the hooker Terry Newton, since he came on, he's calmed things down. They were panicking early in the game, and it took a wonderful effort to put them back into this match.
1 point in it as Wainwright drives the ball forward for Warrington again. Warrington have won 2 from 2 at their new home ground against Wigan in 2004 and this year, and Wigan led 22-12, by the way, going into the last 20 minutes on the last occasion. It's a knock-on.
Eddie, that's a reward for Wigan's defence. In the last 5 minutes, they've visibly increased the intensity. The speed with which the line comes up to try and take the man with the ball, forces it out.
Jerome Guisset has fooled everybody here.
He certainly has, and Terry Newton, the old stager, he actually walked past the official Richard Silverwood and patted him on the head and said, "Good decision."
Danny Orr for Wigan. David Bialicki hands off, or attempts to, the Warrington defender Chris Bridge.
This is turning into an absolute fascinating game. You can see that Wigan have really lifted themselves. The Mellon try, the crowd are behind them.
This is Danny Orr, flicks the ball to Guisset.
This is where Dennis Moran starts taking control.
Godwin is the dummy half. Danny Orr. The tackle by Noon. Godwin again. Now it's with Terry Newton. And Newton looking to squeeze the pass out. Couldn't do so. That's the last tackle. It's back to Orr. And Danny Orr gets the kick in. Farfeli picks it up and stays the right side of the whitewash just.
That was a great effort as well. It was a good kick. Exceptional kick there. And the right way. Make sure it went deep into the corner. Now I wonder when Paul Cullen are going to say to his chargers, come on, it's time now to give it a bit of air. Oh, that's a high one. It's a lazy one. And he knows it, Hampson.
It was David Allen who lifted the arm too high. It's a relieving penalty, though, for Warrington.
Massively relieving penalty there. The pressure was so high on them. Trying to come out of the trouble, the whole side looked shattered, didn't it?
Well, you know, Phil, at some stage it's changing momentum, and that may well be significant because Warrington aren't going to be out of the game for the full 40 minutes of this second half. At some stage, they'll get back.
And here they come with Wainwright. He's got support down the left-hand side. Oh! It was pinched. It was pinched by Liam Colborn.
Cannot believe that. They had two men outside. Wainwright should really have lobbed the ball.
He lost it Westwood. It bounced off his head.
Yeah, certainly couldn't get it, but he should have thrown the ball right over Westwood.
Here's Terry Newton now. And Warrington are offside.
Well,
this is an absolute thriller.
It certainly is, and that could have just tied up the game. Wainwright did everything right, apart from the final pass. He should have lobbed that ball right over Westwood. When you've got 2-on-1, that's all you need. Didn't need the short pass. Lob it out wide. You can see Liam Coleman was left 2-on-1, and he came up with a football.
movement!
David Allen will play the ball to Godwin, and here comes Guisset again. Halted by Lightball and Lima. That was a heavyweight collision. Godwin once more. Godwin attacking the line, almost through. Danny Orr now. Here is Dennis Moran. Moran back, it comes to Guisset. Guisset out the back door to Moran. Moran on to Danny Orr. And Danny Orr changes the direction. Gives it to Moran and finds Brett Dallas. And Dallas flicks the pass to Danny Tickle. Dean Gaskell has missed him. And Dallas has scored for Wigan. Paul Cullen is crestfallen. And Brett Dallas, he comes back with a bang. Ever present last year, missed two in 2005. His 10th try against Warrington in the last 5 years here.
Neat inside ball. Moran then just kept it alive. So did Danny Orr. They had the numbers out wide. Dallas combines, but had the wherewithal to come back on the inside. It's too late. Wigan have taken the lead. Well, Warrington looked as though they had full control of this game. Excellent stuff. The offload was superb. This is what it means to a team that they know are struggling. Injuries. They have been hammered over the last month. Listen to this crowd here. Absolutely sensational. Dallas, how many times has he done this? Brought the team back into the game. And yet, barely seconds before that, when Wainwright made the break, it should have been a try at the other end. It's turning into a classic.
Dallas's try gives Wigan the lead for the first time.
In sport, you're never more dangerous than when everybody has written you off, and I think over the last few weeks so much has been said about the Wigan side that the players themselves now have formed a resolve that says, listen, nobody expects us to win, we're just going to go out there and try. And if you can put 6 passes together like they just did then, close to the opponent's line, there's every chance that somebody's going to run into a hole and turn it into a try. Exactly what Brett Dallas just did.
Nathan Wood having a right go at his team as Danny Tickle lines this kick up. Left-footed from Tickle, and he has added the extras. It's 16 points to 11, and suddenly the game's turned upside down.
There you see, look, Dallas is offloaded. Now, a lot of players would say, well, my job is done. Oh, no, that is experience. He got away from the would-be tackler. The combination There is Wood saying, come on, we've got to get back, lift the intensity. But a lot of the players, their body language is not good. They look a little bit stunned in a game that they thought they had control. And Wigan, the Warriors, are fighting like them.
They are, and we have just seen Brett Dallas's 97th try for the Wigan Warriors. Pickersgill is straight into the action. Godwin loses the ball. It's a knock-on, and is that a turning point?
Well, we've had so many in this game. The drop goal just before half-time, we thought that that would stretch it. A 7-point lead at the break. Well, he's worked hard as Wayne Godwin. That's the first error that he's come up with tonight.
Well, I hope you're enjoying this as much as we are. We still have over a quarter of the match to go. Nathan Wood grounded by an excellent tackle. Liam Colbon's come of age tonight. This is Dean Gaskell.
Well, he saved a certain try, didn't he, when Wainwright made that break.
Danny Lima can't get the ball away. Oh, yes, he can. And here now is Pickersgill. The fresh legs for Warrington.
Quick run from dummy half, that's what's needed.
Mark Gleeson. Back it comes to Chris Bridge. Here is Brent Gross. Martin Gleeson.
What a tackle. That's play on. That play on. He went backwards.
Was that touched by a Wigan hand? Was that touched by Liam Botham? Referee says the tackle count stays as it is. Here's Pickersgill. That's the last.
Surely they'll opt for the kick into the corner.
Here's Bridge. Bridge. Chris Bridge. Brilliant. Brilliant. Chris Bridge try. They were waiting for the kick, Wigan. And Chris Bridge just tiptoed his way around the defence. Kick to come, and Warrington will be back in the lead again.
I'm with you, Eddie. Gleeson did ever so well here. The ball comes away. Didn't matter that it came off a Wigan player. They thought it was 60 goal. They didn't need it. It doesn't matter. What an effort. You take your chance. That is sheer quality. Oh, dummy, step. They went high. Newton went high. By the time they got to his legs, he was over for the TRY. Forget waving for the 6. They've got both arms up this time. And I think that man is very pleased indeed.
He enjoyed every minute of that. Chris Bridge, signed from the Bradford Bulls, had a stormer when Warrington went to Odsal. He scored the majority of their points in a win, and they hadn't won on that ground for years. And here he is now, and he gives Warrington back the lead here.
And it was a real sign of a player who has self-belief. I mean, every other probably option on the field was a good one for him, but he said, no, this is my chance here, I'm going to take it on.
Look at the weaving run here. Throws the dummy. They expected the little kick through. So did I. So did nearly everybody on this ground, apart from one man, and his name is Bridge. What a try.
Well, 3 coaches watching very anxiously, because we have a long, long way to go in this match. And Lima drives the ball out again. It's the 3rd time that Paul Cullen has faced Ian Millwood, John Keir. Twice before in St Helens colours, he feels he was robbed.
Yeah, I'm sure they're trying to put the record right, and you saw his reaction at Chris Bridge's try. But Phil made a great point about Chris Bridge playing with self-belief. But the Warrington team are. They've won lots and lots of close games just by the odd point or odd 2 or 4 points. And they're playing like a team who've got self-belief and will just keep going, and they're very, very confident indeed.
Lee Breers looks like he's biting his nails as well. Those 2 matches between Warrington and St Helens this year, won by Ian Millwood and Saints, 16-18 and 30-31. Here at the JJB Stadium tonight, with Ian Millwood now in the cherry and white of Wigan, it's 17-16, but in Paul Cullen's favour. And both those previous matches involving St Helens and Warrington, one of course, well, I was going to say in the last minute, one actually in the last second.
It certainly was. The hooter is virtually gone.
And this one ain't over yet.
Oh, there's plenty of time, don't worry. Wigan
It's a great game.
It certainly is. A Wigan, they really don't have to panic. If they do, they'll come up with the error. They're only 1 point behind. They've just got to grind their way through. Even the 1 pointer they can go for. Maybe get the penalty. Go for the 2.
The ball's been in play almost an hour, and we've only had 63 minutes and 14 seconds in this match. That is the difference between this and so many other sports. There is nowhere to hide on a Super League field.
That is for sure.
Nowhere.
There's no kick and clap in this game, that's for sure.
Saints Wigan next Friday. Ian Millwood back at Nosey Road. 7:30 Sky Sports 1. Hull and Huddersfield next Saturday. We're at the KC Stadium with John Keir, Sky Sports 2, and the Northern Rail Cup final thrown in for good measure. Castleford Hull KR Sunday at 2:30 from Blackpool. What a weekend. Plus everything from Australia as well. Oh, what a ball from Lima. This is Nathan Wood.
Oh, he had to wing it onto the left-hand side. Don't tell me they're going to blow another one.
Ben Westwood. Still Westwood.
What an offload there from Danny Lima.
Mark Leeson called for that and got it. Over the top to this man, Chris Bridge. There's the up and under. Well played by Chris Melling. Oh!
Well, that was a heavy one. Hadn't been seen by the officials. Melling felt that.
It was felt by Chris Melling. Good run from Danny Orr. Awful play the ball, but a penalty.
Yeah, all over the man trying to play the football. A lot of the Wigan players who were pointing down to the fact that Brett Dallas had set off towards the line.
And Danny Orr is in all sorts of trouble.
Yeah. Oh, the knee has just gone with him trying to get himself up off the ground. Oh, maybe seeing that. Maybe Melling only caught the shoulder. Certainly waved away by Richard Silverwood, who I must say, it's been that sort of game, but the referee has been outstanding tonight.
Danny Orr has just waved the physio away. I think they want him on. And Danny Orr has stamped his foot and said he's staying on, but he's limping heavily as Botham takes it forward for Wigan.
Now will they drive and think about it? This is it. And he just tries to get up there and it just snaps.
Lovely kick from Dennis Moran! And well guarded by Dean Gaskell.
Super kick. Absolutely outstanding there by Dean Gaskell. Knew he had to dive in the end. There's been some outstanding passages of football tonight.
There's been some great attack, but John Keir, there's been some magnificent defence as well, and there's been the mistakes.
Exactly right, Eddie. And Steve-O talked about would the blow under the chance. Well, Liam Colburn, you know, he got between the man who made the break and the support player. That nullified the other chance, and I think that Dean Gaskell has been immense in defusing those kicks. He took a high ball behind his own line, and twice when the ball's got to the ground, he's reacted very, very quickly and diffused the situation.
John, I asked the question. Say you're the coach of Wigan, would you go for the 1 point and square it up?
Not yet, no. I think there's tries to be had here. There's tired bodies out there.
There is, and that's a drive forward by the number 22, David Allen. And this is Terry Newton. And Newton looks and longs it wide in the end to Dennis Moran, who showed it once, showed it again. No way through, though, for Liam Botham. Godwin waits the dummy half. Godwin has scored for Wigan!
He'll go to the screen on this.
Was it a double movement?
There was a certain movement on the left arm. It was wonderful play. Through the dummy, went on his own from dummy half. Has he been stopped?
Well, there is definite movement of the arm there.
He has to see whether Wainwright has stopped his progress.
Did he break the white line, Steve-O, before he made the second movement? I'm sure that's what Steve Cross will look for. Did the ball actually break the white line before he picked it up, put it down?
Well, that's the only way the try can be given. And we'll see here, frame by frame. Yeah, I think the tip of the football has hit the whitewash, and this will be TRY time, and Wigan take the lead yet again. Tremendous effort. It was sensational the way that Bridge sidestepped his way through, and now we get to a point where Goodwin is there. Phil Clark, is this try or no try?
Steve-O, you used to think it was a game of inches. It's now a game of millimetres. I don't know whether it's just so close, isn't it, there?
I think it's got
That looks like no try on that angle.
No, I think it's there.
I think that's a try, Ed.
Yeah, I think
hand in the ball must be touching the line.
The end of the ball, to me, touches the whitewash. This is going to be one of the biggest decisions of the season.
Well, they come back all the time to benefit of doubt.
Has Wainwright stopped him?
That's a try.
That's on the line. That tells it all. That tells it all.
It's got to be it.
John Keir picked it early doors.
Good
Fair
glasses,
play.
Eddie. The good glasses, these.
Well, I wonder if Steve Cross has got good glasses. He's not made his mind up yet. He wants to look. You see, the problem is that he's promoted the arm. That's why there's such a debate.
Look, if he hasn't hit the whitewash,
He's not convinced.
he's not convinced that he's going to give it. So therefore, that's a double movement. But as the first impact, as it brushed the whitewash, I
Well,
think
what
it is.
does he say? Steve Cross, it's given. Wayne Godwin for Wigan, and the pendulum swings back towards the cherry and white.
Well, Paul Cullen must be thinking, what do I have to do to beat this coach in Millwall? He seems to have the magic touch. Wonderful play by Wayne Godwin. He only made one error, and remember we spoke about, was that the turning point of the game, when it was Godwin himself. He has repaid his teammates and his coach. Through the dummy, they thought it was going to be a move. They thought that Newton was coming through. Wainwright tried his best. It was ever so close.
And Steve Cross's decision is that the ball did hit the line there before the arm was promoted forward.
And I agree.
Danny Tickle then to restore Wigan's 5-point advantage. Well, I don't think you'll be leaving this. It's 22-17. Godwin's try, Tickle converts. There are some glum faces on the Warrington bench.
That's what convinced him.
That's over the line, definitely.
Yep. It's TRY time, don't worry about it.
Look at the Warrington fans. Now, can Warrington find something from somewhere to claw their way back again? With 12 minutes to go.
Of course they can, Eddie. They've got enough try-scoring players' ability out there.
There'll be some people late for a night out tonight, Phil. No one will be wanting to leave this.
They can create the chances. Where they've let themselves down tonight is in putting them away and scoring them, and time after time they've made breaks, but they've been unable to score. If they get one more in this game, they'll have to make it count.
The lead has swung 3 times in the last 10 minutes.
I'm with you, Eddie. There'll be many a lady in a black dress waiting to go out for something to eat. Well, don't put your pearls on yet, baby. This is going to be a thriller.
This is Brent Gross. Now it's Henry Farfili.
It's a big ask now of Wigan. William Millward is not normally safety first, is he? But will Ian Millward send a message out and say, we will just die with this ball. Let's just kick, get the charity, good kick and chase. We will hang on.
Well, he's very animated up here, Ian Millward. And I must say, the Warrington supporters have gone very, very quiet. Mark Gleeson. Back it goes to Nathan Wood. He gets the kick in, but this is straight to Melling.
He's had a great game, this kid.
Who'll try and pick a man of the match out of this?
Well, you thought when Bridge did that solo try, it may have just tipped it that way. Godwin has worked overtime. He really has been a star, but to me, the fullback for Wigan, Chris Mellin, and the fullback for Warrington, Brent Gross, they have been outstanding. So many breaks, they've had to put themselves under pressure.
This is Dave Allen again for Wigan. It was a robust challenge from Paul Noon. And here is Danny Orr, flicks the ball.
I'd be going for one.
Oh, and the ball is continued on by Newton to Godwin, to Allen. Out the back door to Brett Dallas. Here is David Vialicki. And Vialicki is gobbled up by Paul Noon. Last tackle here for Wigan.
Go for the
with Danny Orr. No, they're looking for more out wide. Gaskell with a job to do. Oh, it's stolen! Colburn! Colburn for Wigan! No doubt in the mind of the referee. Didn't need to hand that on. And Liam Colburn, has he just plucked the cherry out of the sky for the Cherry and Whites to win the match and launched an assault on the top six?
Unbelievable, this switch across from the to the right to the left side of the pitch. And what a take under pressure. It looked as though they were going to go for the one. Danny Orr says no, he's out there. Richard Silverwood never even attempted to go for the screen to see if he was onside or not. And Dean Gaskell is beaten, probably for the first time. It's been a rough road over the last few weeks for these Wigan supporters. Not anymore. Surely that sealed it. The face of Paul Cullen must be like fire, while the two coaches in charge at Wigan, they celebrate. What a turnaround.
Remarkable comeback, and the Warrington fans disappointed. But take nothing away from Liam Colburn. He climbed above Dean Gaskell and he plonked the ball down.
Eddie, Wigan's sheer enthusiasm has won them this game. If you look at what they did in the set leading up to that try, it was simple one-out runs, but with that much enthusiasm that they made meter after meter. They got into a position where a quality kick was made dangerous by the chasers coming through. Very little Dean Gaskell could do. Their enthusiasm in defence as well has restricted Warrington to about a 30-metre gain. Wasn't a great kick, and you know, all round massive round of applause there for the sheer effort they put into that 2 minutes work that resulted in the try.
And he has the extras, Danny Tickle. 28-17 to Wigan, and remarkable support around the three other sides of this ground for the Wigan Warriors, considering what's happened to them recently. 70-0 at Leeds, 75-0 at St Helens, but they are here in numbers. They are giving this lot great support, and Ian Millwood believes that the match is won.
I think everyone does. That was a wonderful kick right into the corner there.
I bet they're glad they didn't get Danny Orr off after all.
It was a beautiful weighted kick. Holborn rings high.
You know, Steve, Phil talked about enthusiasm, now they restricted the Warrington go forward. But on the last tackle, there was a kick pressure by Stephen Wild, and that really did restrict the ability of the Warrington kicker to get any true distance, and it allowed Mellin to field the ball on the full.
This year, you know, when Wigan have lost Andy Farrell and Chris Radlinski currently out, this fellow tonight has stood up.
He's been outstanding. He was the man that took control. He said, come on, let's start doing things. His little runs, jinking runs from dummy half.
Kick to the in-goal area is just too deep. It's been an inspirational performance in attack from Terry Newton. There's Chris Radlinski, the club captain now, injured and not out there for Wigan.
Well, the most important factor is that he will be staying in rugby league. It looked odds on that he was going to join the rugby union ranks. Ooh, they look forward.
Play on. Missed tackle.
Oh, that was not ball. That's play on.
Ball.
That is play on. It was deliberately knocked backwards.
Godwin again, halted by the challenge from Paul Wood. Danny Tickle.
Well, Terry Newton will control it now. He'll just tease them.
Godwin, 20 metres away from the Warrington post. Newton is there again. Here is Dennis Moran. Back on the inside to Botham. And he's thundered to the ground by Lima and Lightfall.
I've been so impressed the way that Wigan have dug deep and they've come back into this game. It's been all those in the second half, and that is a big hit from Lima. We'll have a little word with the official, Richard Silverwood. Boom.
Well, this will put
Okay, I called you out.
Well, his name is Tickle, but he didn't get anything near that. It was a heavy contact from Danny Lima. They'll be happy to take the two. They'll take the time. They'll brush the ball, wipe it, probably roll off the mound a couple of times. They know they've got this game. Well, Danny Orr, the man who looked as though his knee had gone again. He was writhing on the floor in agony and then comes up with a kick that has sealed this game, Phil Clark.
Well, Eddie, you've already highlighted where Wigan has to play next week, and I think it was vital for them to get a win here today, to go there with any confidence. They're arch rivals, they want to go there, and just maybe come away with a win.
Well, wouldn't that turn things upside down, because St Helens just a point now behind Leeds at the top of the table as a result of London's victory in the south of France this evening, in case you're just tuning in. It's been quite a weekend already in the Super League, and Tickle adds another 2 points. It's 30 points to Wigan, it's 17 to Warrington, and Wigan are going to launch a bit of their own on those top 6 places, I can tell you that.
Isn't it amazing at half-time, it would have been going round to their minds that maybe they could have been pushed and forced into a relegation battle within the space of 35 minutes in the second half. That has been pushed to one side, and it just shows you Warrington came to this game complete favourites.
Okay, let's go.
Leeds went to France to play London as the complete favourites. It hasn't worked out that way, has it?
Eddie, last week the fans went to the game wondering whether the side were going to be relegated. This week they're going home wondering whether they're going to make it to the grand final.
Let's get down to Dave Hadfield. He has a difficult job to decide, and his colleagues to decide who's the man of the match.
Difficult job is right, Eddie. There's been votes all over the place tonight for Warrington, Brent Gross, Danny Lima, Nat Wood, and especially Chris Bredgell got mentions. For Wigan, well, a whole raft of them: Dennis Moran, Wayne Godwin, Terry Newton. But the man we've gone for in the end, we could have gone for any one of a number, but the fella who's got it is Danny Tickle.
So Danny Tickle gets the watch as man of the match. Newton to Danny Orr, saw there was space behind Gaskell.
That is wonderful thinking.
Look at the chase from Wigan. Look at the chase from Wigan.
Absolutely superb the way that just shows you the experience. Kicking into the corner. Warrington are tired. And you know, just before the half-time break, it looked as though Wigan were out on their feet. Shows you that their fitness levels certainly on the improve.
Thank you very much. Liam Botham is picked out by Chris Lightfall. I think Botham then clashed heads also with Mark Gleeson. Martin Aspinwall.
They want more, Wigan. They know the game's wrapped up. Just over 2 minutes to go.
Terry Newton kicks an invitation to Brett Dallas, but Henry Farfili picks it up and then goes to ground. Paul Cullen, a setback on the road to what he believes will be Warrington's best ever finish in the Super League. Martin Gleeson.
Oh, that was high. Silly play by Dave Allen. Well, with a couple of those, have to certainly change his technique if he's going to go far in this game.
Well, a thrilling contest. Warrington have played their full part in it, but it's the enthusiasm, the bubbling enthusiasm of Wigan that's won it.
And you've got to pay a lot of credit as well to the Wigan defence. Martin Aspinall, David Bialicki, is the way that they've kept quiet. Martin Gleeson, and early in the game.
How many times have Warrington passed the ball to a red and white jersey?
Oh, that should be a penalty. He's going to allow the advantage. Come on,
Stephen Wild.
Come on, Wigan. Put a smile on my face. Go for the one.
I don't think so. Not at 30-17. Danny Orr. Into the last 30 seconds of the match that Wigan have won. Here's Newton, looking for more. They're going to get more. Newton has got the ball down.
He certainly has.
And Ian Millward wins his first match as Wigan coach on home soil.
Fully deserved as well. He's had an outstanding game. As David Hatfield said, it was difficult for all the media to pick out one particular person, because it's been a wonderful team effort from this cherry and white side. But this guy makes all the difference. I want the 4. He may lift one finger, but he knows it's a valuable 4-pointer. Yep, he'll take that, and surely this will be an extra 2 points. Happiness on the face. Happiness indeed. It has turned out to be a rout now. What looked like should have been an exciting finish. And Paul Cullen, the Warrington coach, will be wondering what on earth has happened. They just seem to have fallen apart. Solid defence throughout for about 65 minutes, and then it has all gone astray.
Well, Wigan have won 19, drawn 1 of 24 summer meetings with Warrington prior to tonight. That's now 20, 1 draw from 25. They don't have the wherewithal to beat Wigan on home soil, it would appear. And Warrington's 7-match winning sequence comes to an end. It's 36-17